That's okay. We're officially live, baby, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So first and foremost, good morning, good morning, good morning. Nah, it's good afternoon. How you guys doing today? I was working very, very hard this morning. We had a couple sessions today, so I had to get things done beforehand. But I have been making a promise to say like, hey, this is what we're doing. We are going to be going live. We're going to be making something happen today. And first and foremost, you already know that it is a Benito Bowl weekend. Now, I know that there's been a lot of things that have kind of been hopping around this, but I got to tell you, as a Puerto Rican, baby, this is it. This is creme de la creme. This is the moment. This is something historic that we get to see. And I don't think everybody gets that, but I will tell you right now, the beauty of what this man came out to say is said, hey, listen, this is about having a good time. I'm about to bring a party to the stage. And anybody who has turned around and, partied with Hispanics, just like with every culture, you all have your different kind of vibe that something, shines up on. That's exactly what's going to happen here. So before we begin, there is a couple of cool things I actually use my little laptop over here to kind of do. And we're going to jump into that in a second. I just wanted to make sure that we're also live on Facebook, make sure everything's going smooth on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook's looking good. Over here, we're looking good. Maybe a little bit too bright on Facebook. I might bring down the lights a little bit. Um, Let me bring down my brightness. Woo, business. Anyway, so here, let me do this, and we're gonna go right back to that. I like having the chat up at the same time. I can actually see it from here, as opposed to when I'm doing it the other way. Beep, I like my own stuff. So check this out, Benito Bowl, right? Now, first and foremost, I want to say congratulations. Congratulations are in order for something so simple as this. Earlier this week, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this all over, and you guys are probably like, "Oh my god!" If you have Puerto Rican friends right now this week, I will openly admit we're being extra. There's no way we're not. There's no way we're not being extra right now, and I am all with it, 100%. I am all with it. Okay. So first and foremost, something that this past weekend, it was Sunday night, when I turned around and I was just like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. um, I went to sleep and I woke up to Grammy history making news. And you guys saw me put up a couple posts this week and everything like that. Debí tirar más fotos, the first Spanish language album to win, album of the year. And to me, that was huge. And we've seen posts and everything goes on. This man, in his moment, has done so much, and he's so young, and he like took like this whole just proof that you could do it your way kind of approach. Like, I don't need to bend the knee. I'm going to do it my way. And, there was a lot of different artists that come before that helped kick open the door, which is beautiful. But the reality of it is that, like, yes, we're grateful. It takes a lot to get there. But that's why this is also a very huge moment. It was kind of like when, everybody who watched the streaming that was going on Amazon during his concert, you know, that final performance when Mark Anthony came out on stage and people were just like, and they sang Preciosa and the eyes are just like tearing. And, I was on my feet. I stood up. There was not a moment or doubt or anything in my mind where I was going to sit back and be like, no, because that was symbolic in so many ways because it was like a passing of the torch. And that doesn't mean Mark Anthony isn't going to come out with new music. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that like this is happening now. This is his time now. He's going to be the one running with it. And so there was a couple of things, and I will be honest, some of my friends, I'm really, really kind of surprised about, but it is what it is, to each his own. Nobody's forcing anything. So it's one of those things where like I turn around and I'm like, all right, well, what can we do, right, to just highlight the beauty of it? And it's like he was saying during his speech, it's not about meeting hate with hate, you know, show a little love in there. That's what it's about. So even in doing that, he could have easily went up there and said, I'm in the mood to bash. Let me just throw shade and all this other stuff. No bash. He could have. No bash. So when people are talking about like the Grammys and how it was this and how it was that, the same thing that I tell people on a majority is, right, that these are people just like you and I. No difference. And they are entitled to their opinion. And they're entitled to go on stage and they can say their opinion. Now, you could agree with that opinion. You could boo that opinion. You could do whatever you want with that opinion. But the reality of it is that's their opinion, you know? And just because, and you could say, well, they're at a larger platform and they're going to be an influence and impact and all this other stuff. The reality of it is we all make our own decisions, our own choices. We all have our own feelings to what we want to say or do. Okay. Now, it's great if you see someone and you see that relatability and it just means a little bit more. Yes. But there are plenty of artists that I listen to, I like, right? And they may have completely different stances. We're not supposed to, copy. Like, I remember this happened. I brought this up because I saw this one post where somebody was talking about he's going to go up in a dress on stage. And I sat back and I thought to myself, I was just kind of like, that that's your concern? We have like this amazing performance you're talking about. Look, another fun fact. Hold on, wait for it. Beep. The most streamed artist on Spotify for multiple years, even in 2025, multiple years. And your concern is that? Please, we've seen artists come up in all different sorts of fashion. Okay. And that's never been an issue. I immediately, for me, when I saw stuff like that going on online and people saying all these things online, um, I sat back and I thought to myself, back in the 90s, this was like the early 90s, or maybe the mid 90s, I'm not sure, where Dennis Rodman was getting married. And famous basketball player, Chicago Bulls championships. Just in case you guys may not know who I'm talking about. One of the greatest rebounders, if not maybe the greatest rebounder in NBA history, was Dennis Rodman. I dare you to challenge me on it. He played with the best of the best. He brought home championships, just like Jordan. But he got married wearing a dress. And at the time, this was over 30 years ago, there was like this whole uproar. And I'm like, okay, well, this is 30 years ago. What does it mean? Are you going to wear a dress? Uh, then calm down. It doesn't impact you in that way. If that's that man's style choice and he's having fun, let him have fun. Who cares? Why does it bother you so much? There are certain things, where I see people get so uptight about, where I'm like, why does it bother you so much? It doesn't need to. It's meant to be a show. It's meant to be fun. You guys easily watch lip sync battle and laugh. You can see Tom Holland, Spider Man, when he did the whole scene as Rihanna, and that was lip sync battle, and everybody loves that scene. He's crazy. He killed it. It's one of the most iconic scenes in lip sync battle. And yeah, he was dressed like Rihanna. Does that, from the Umbrella video, does that take away anything from Spider Man? Absolutely not. It doesn't. Not in my eyes, anyway. So don't be so soft about certain things. It's meant to be entertainment. It's meant to be a show. It's meant for you to watch. You know, every year at the Super Bowl, they have very amazing, talented artists that go up. Last year, we had Kendrick Lamar. A couple of years ago, we had Rihanna, Shakira, J-Lo. Before that, we had Prince, Maroon 5, Bruno Mars, The Weeknd. All these talented artists. Because in many ways, for the United States, right, the Super Bowl is a huge moment. It's a huge peak. As a nation, obviously with baseball, of course, football is really, what we do. Football, basketball, and baseball. That's what we do. That's what we excel in. That's what we love to play. Those are sports we love to play. We were bragging when we had the dream team in the 90s. We were bragging, When we have baseball teams, we're bragging and we're prideful all over. I don't care which state you're from. You turn around, you look at Philly when they won the championships, Eagles, they were turning over cars and climbing up poles, and they were doing everything crazy. You see New York win a championship, they're going to have a good time. You see Cali, Florida, because we're also festive people. We celebrate. We celebrate people's culture here. It's nothing to be turned around and shamed and frowned on or up against. I'm like, why are you like this? Where did this come from? You going to throw a fit over 15 minutes? He going to be on stage for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And this man's going to make it a party. He's going to have some fun. He's going to have a party. That's what we're going to see. That's why it's Benito Bowl. You know, and the beauty of it is you also introduce the sport, once again, the NFL's main goal, right? On an international level. You're going to have people all over watching this. Probably the most streamed, Super Bowl ever. And the reason why, not for nothing, is because who's headlining the halftime show? Call it what it is. Benito did it. Give him the win. Benito did it. And I love it. I love it. I'll say 100% I love it. I see a couple of people jumping in, stuff like that. So the fact that he came home with 3 Grammys was huge. My Que viva Puerto Rico. Something my wife, she was just like, you guys are going to be on fire this whole week. And we have. Because it wasn't just that. We had, boxing champions, baseball teams. It's a lot from a little island. And, Puerto Rico has been through a lot. We have. I don't need to go through the whole history of every little thing. But there's a lot of history involved with, Puerto Rico and the U.S. So, it really was a bit of a shocker to me when people were just kind of like, oh, well, he's not American. And I'm like, what? How? And so there's like a level of, just, I don't understand where it comes from. Honestly, I don't. I really don't know where the last few years where a lot of, this hate has been on the rise. I really don't know where it comes from. Like, we're all together here. We're all in the U.S. We have different states. We do things differently in each state, yes, but we're all together. So, we got to remember that. And we should be cheering for each other, not knocking, not hating, not booing. We should be like, wow, look at that. It's proof. It's proof. If anything, this is proof that in any nation in the world, the United States of America, you can make it. If you could make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's what they say in New York, right? If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And this is just more proof. All these artists that come out, that come together, when they make it up and it's on the come right, we look and we're able to say, hey, yeah, I could see myself in that person. And you see that moment and you see that pride and you see it flow and you see it go and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting my flag, I'm waving, I'm dancing, I'm celebrating, I'm happy. Okay, we're going to have acapulia, we're going to have pening, we're going to have arroz con habichuela, we are going to have relleno de papa, we're going to have all these things. And we're also going to have nachos, chicken wings, ribs, and all this good stuff. Okay, we're going to have pasteles, we're going to have totones, we're going to have empanadas, we're going to have coquito. Somebody probably even make coquito now, and it's out of season. We should not be making coquito right now. I just want you to full note. But this is probably one of those special occasions, where you celebrate. And I think what I liked about this one the most, there's a couple of tracks on here, Lo que pasó, Hawaii, that was kind of like, that was heavy. And I think that was one of the first ones that came out. And then DTMF, Tibatia Mafoto. And anybody who knows me, they could tell you, I worked on my Spanish for years, okay? English is my first language. Spanish is my second. And I work on it all the time. I work on it all the time because it's important to me. That's really what it is. So, café con ron, I love it. And it's like being able to see it happen and see it shine is just beautiful. So, no one's taking away, no one's doing anything like that. If you're feeling some type of way, maybe change the channel. That's really what it is. And I also tell people all the time, be careful what you're watching. Be mindful of it. Sometimes the stuff that we see on our phones, the streams, it's not even real. Take your time, do some research into it. That matters. Take your time, do some research into it, look into it, and say, hey, did that really happen? Hey, is that what happened? You'll be surprised what you can educate yourself on. And you turn around and you're like, oh my God, I was wrong. And that could be hard for a lot of people. Being wrong is probably one of the toughest things to have to admit. To turn around and say, "Mm, my bad." To turn around and have to do one of those things and be like, my bad. I made a mistake. I thought it was this. It's not. It's that. But when you could admit that you're wrong, you've grown as a person. When you could turn around and say, hey, I thought it was this, but it was that, you've grown as a person. You've educated yourself. You were willing to admit that, hey, I made a mistake. And I think that's impactful in all walks of our life. You're not always going to get things right the first time. And in fact, this is the perfect time of year and the perfect time of season 4 because Valentine's Day is right around the corner. It is. And in couples and in relationships, people mess up all the time. But it's when you actually take the time to take a step back to learn from it and say, like, oh my God, that was like a mistake, or I didn't mean it this way, or I misunderstood, right? Communication is very important in that sense. And that's the reason why you take the step back and you're like, oh, I get it. Let me try to see it from this person's perspective. Let me try to understand this person, right? And if you're in the wrong, just say you're in the wrong. That's so hard. I never understood, like, it's so hard. I know last week I was talking a little bit about like shooting your shot and making sure, yeah, shoot your shot. It's Valentine's Day. I'm definitely one of those people who feel like, it's like you see someone, you like that someone, ask. If it doesn't happen, you tried your best. That's it. That's it. You never know. You never know. And I say the same thing like when it comes to, and this is me beating I hate to say it, but beating a dead horse. This is it. This is one of those things where I do repeat myself on. It's the same thing like when it comes to artists, right? If you're going to go ahead and release your demo, you're going to release this, you're going to release that, just throw it out there. Throw it out there, right? Don't turn around and tell me all the flaws about it. Throw it out there. Drop your track, drop your single, drop it what it is, right? Let me formulate my own opinion on it. After I formulate my own opinion on it, then we could break down and say, hey, we could do this, we could do that. Because I listened to what you were doing, I listened to what you were saying, and I formulated my own opinion. The moment you jump in and you start bashing somebody's art or creativity immediately right away, first off, criticism is cool. Criticism is appreciated as long as it's constructive. There you go. I said it just like that. And the reason why is because how many times, right? You'll hear people, and often most people who make the complaints are mad because they can't do. That's it. When people are criticizing, make sure you understand what they're criticizing you about. Could have been a different brush that you needed to use. Could have been a different EQ that you could have been using. Could have been a different program that you would have chosen to edit in. There's a lot of different options you could do. But when somebody's giving you criticism, make sure it's constructive criticism, not just a you suck. Because you'd be surprised how many people be like, I just didn't like it. It sucked. And you're like, what? Okay, well, do me a favor, break it down. What sucked about it? I just don't like it. Okay, well, what didn't you like about it? I don't know. It's just not for me. Well, that's not a criticism that you keep. If you really can't formulate your own thoughts behind it, and you really can't say, well, you know, I didn't like the wordplay at this point. I felt like it could have been a little bit better lyrically. The beat was there, the mix was there, but I kind of felt like they kind of lacked on lyrics. That's constructive criticism. You said something that was impactful. You could talk about the color mixture in a painting. You could talk about the way that a video or film is cut. That is constructive criticism. So the other thing is that I do want to talk a little bit about Benito Bowl, real simple, is that no matter no matter how amazing every single performer has went out on the Super Bowl, every single one who has went out, there was always criticism and heavy critiquing the day after. Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Shakira, J Lo, Prince, I think Whitney Houston. There was just whoever performs at the Super Bowl. There's always going to be heavy criticism. What I hope to see on Sunday, and these are my picks of some of the artists that I hope he brings up. It's not guaranteed, but I kind of hope. I'm kind of be nice to see. Be nice to see my guest for my guest, and you could put your guest in the chat, whoever you believe that it is. My guest for people coming out this Super Bowl. I don't think he's gonna go heavy with guest appearances. I don't think he's going to do that. I think you're gonna see maybe three artists. I think the three artists that you're going to see, this is my guess. Number one, I think without a doubt, Cardi B. I think we're going to see Bodega Batty. I think that's going to be up there on a full scale. We just saw her on Saturday Night Live. I think that's going to be right up there. Um, I I believe I believe because she also had a very very successful album this year. I think he's going to bring out Carol G. I think she's going to do an amazing performance as well. Um, and the third artist, because I know it's going to be three. I got a feeling it's going to be three. I'm just not sure that third artist yet. I know for sure it's Cardi B. I have to say that. I know for sure. I mean, maybe K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Maybe K-pop. Maybe it's the girl from K-pop Demon Hunters, and they're gonna sing Golden, because that song has been everywhere for the last year since it hit Netflix. Maybe that. Maybe those are your three. Maybe the three. I know the third one's a bit of a stretch. Actually, hold on. I know my third person. I take it back. And my third person is, I'll tell you right now. My first person, Cardi. My second person, Carol G. My third person, Mark Anthony. Those are my three. And I think if Mark comes on stage, we're going to hear him sing Vivi Vivi, um, Bodega Batty, you know, and I think it's Conocido from Carol G. You guys can butcher me in the chat if you want about that. Like I said, I could probably sing the song, right? The name titles, it is what it is. I Let's judge not. How about that? So, with that being said, it is a Friday. I am having fun. I do have a couple other facts I can share with you. He has been streaming albums, Billboard, Spotify, and everything for quite some time. The Puerto Rican in me is very, very happy. Super proud, super proud. And I'm excited to see all the flags waving. I'm excited to see the celebration. I'm excited to see some good news. I hope the Seahawks win just so it all coincides. And I know right there on that statement, some of you guys are going to be like, but God, I hope the Seattle Seahawks win. Just, I hope they do win. Um, it's something about the Patriots that I don't know what it is. And I don't even watch football like that. I don't. I don't. I am a Jets fan, so we know that we're not going to be in the Super Bowl for a very long time. We know we're not going to be in the Super Bowl. I will cheer for the Giants, and eventually they'll get back to being in the Super Bowl. But I just kind of want Seattle to do it this time. Maybe give somebody else. I like when other teams get championship rings. That's it. I think that's what it is. I like when other teams get championship rings. because it's really really cool, and it's cool to the point that like you get to see their city celebrate. Like when Philly got their championship, it was like, look at them celebrating, and you get to see like a whole city just have like an amazing good time. And you see the kids and they have their memories and everything's happening and people are celebrating and the confetti's flying everywhere. Music is playing. You see the parade coming down the street. You know, it was one of those things that like for me, like I didn't really watch a lot of football. I will watch a lot of boxing and I will watch a lot of basketball. You know, and by basketball I really will watch the highlights because sitting down for that long just isn't me. It's just not me. Sorry, it's just not me. But like when I was watching basketball, I would love to see like the New Jersey, not the Brooklyn, the New Jersey Nets play. And like when we won the Eastern Conference and we were going to go against LA, and at the time in LA was like Shaq and Kobe. So we were hoping, let's call it what it is. We were hoping for a win, but were we going to win? Were we hoping for it? But we had a good team too. Jason the Kid, Vince Carter. But it would have been great to see that team win a championship. That's what it would have been. It would have been great to see that team win a championship. And I think, like, you know, in many ways, you get to see a lot of organizations and they walk away with so many titles, you know, and it's crazy because, like, this person has like 8 rings and this person has like 4 rings. And you got the one guy who like played his whole career and he's like, I'm just looking for that one ring, that one ring to bring it home. And in many ways, that's what we see at the Super Bowl. It's like you have these teams, and some of them, you know, for certain players, they're going to be like, no, this is our year because they worked really hard for it. Everybody who makes it, you got to remember, this is top of the top. How many years they've been grinding to make this happen, to get that championship, to solidify in many ways the hard work. Now, you're already a champion once you make it to the Super Bowl. You know, between the NFC and the AFC, you're already a champion, right? It's the equivalent of being nominated for a Grammy. Even if you're a Grammy nominated artist, you already won. Think about how many artists release so many songs throughout the span of their careers and don't get that level of acknowledgement. You won already. And I know that's cliche. People say it, oh, you know, he was nominated. You won already. You're a Grammy nominated artist. You had that big of an impact. You won. Same thing like the Super Bowl. Regardless of which team brings home that ring, you won. That's it. And I think oftentimes people forget that. You know, you really have to kind of keep that in mind. So, with that being said, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. And I hope, you know, he accomplishes what he wants to do for his performance, which he said is, I just want to make the world dance. I just want to have a good time. I want people to just be able to party and have a good time and celebrate and dance. You may not even understand what's being said, and that's okay. Yeah, I mean, last year when people were listening to Kendrick, some didn't understand what he was saying either. I got it. I got his message. I love hip hop. I love I love music in general. So when I saw Kendrick going up and there were people being like, well, what is he going to perform? Does he really have the hits? Kendrick was at the Grammys too. Kendrick. Kendrick won awards and made history too. You don't take away from another, you know. So Kendrick did great. The Weeknd did great. All these performers that you see are out there shining. And you know, I think it's when you have that moment. I really thought about this week before doing this live. When you have your moment, your time to shine, and you make it happen, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. You know. So Benito, from all of us. Go out there, go do an amazing performance, go kill it. Boricua para siempre. You know, make sure you go out there and you represent. Go out there and more importantly, do it your way. Have your moment. And I hope everybody's taking amazing pictures with their family. The beauty of the album is amazing. I tell people all the time, I bought 3. Okay, this is the vinyl that I got. And I'm very, very. And we ordered a vinyl player, record player. And we ordered a record player just for it. So, I mean, it's beautiful. So, you guys take it easy. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. You take it easy. Peace.